Hello, and welcome back to the Arc of E podcast. My name is Noah,
And my name is Gavin.
and we are the Blanchard brothers back with you for our Oscar wrap up and also for a brand new review. All right, let's get right into it. Courtesy of Vanity Fair and Gavin's brilliant idea to do all of our Oscar stuff on there, they actually made it really easy to do this rundown once the show was over. Did you watch the broadcast, brother?
I watched a giant chunk of it at mom and dad's. I think we left right before they announced the big heavies, and mom was judging everybody by their plastic surgery and what they have done. She was not a fan of some of the ladies who'd come out like, oh,
I
all
heard
this work.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna dox her on this podcast, but yeah, I heard some of mom's hot takes that are
Hmm.
maybe too spicy for this podcast, to be
Yeah,
honest.
just a little bit.
So yeah, no, she told me you guys watched a bit of it together. I was watching it streaming on Hulu.
Hmm.
Did you hear about the disaster that this was?
No.
Okay. Well, after just my overall general thoughts on the broadcast, after about 3 hours and 17 minutes ish, this was after, to recap, they they cut all of the original songs
Hmm.
performances. We knew that going in.
Hmm.
5 songs that normally you'd have to sit through. You kind of have to structure the whole show around them in some cases. So they cut those. Knew that going into the broadcast, which proceeded to open with 3 songs, followed by a James Bond tribute, which was a
Hmm.
medley of 3 songs.
Uh-huh.
We also got, I'm not counting Conan's musical number because that was hilarious
Oh
and
yeah.
ironic given the fact that it was about wasting time. Uh, and then we had buried late, like I think past the 2 hour and 45 minute mark, the tribute to Quincy Jones and the Wiz performance.
I
That
missed that.
was, yeah. Okay. So after all of that, and we get to Best Actor, and Adrian Brody gives the longest speech in recorded Oscar history at just shy of 7 minutes. It felt like it was 15. Um, After all of that, in the middle of our boy Sean Baker winning for Best Director, uh, on the course of the Honora sweep that I kind of thought might be coming, ended up totally panning out. Uh, right in the middle of that speech, boom, cut to black. This live broadcast has ended.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay. So I back out immediately and I try and go back in. There's nothing there.
Oh my God. To
There's
to be
nothing.
fair, I think I left mom and dad's before the Quincy Jones performance because I heard them say, "And coming up a tribute." I came home, didn't try it any other. I was like, I waited, I looked, I think I saw, oh my God, there was an upset for Best Actress. Okay, and then that was pretty much it. I didn't engage with it much after that. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I missed what was arguably the biggest surprise moment of the night, which was, yes, we all had it wrong. Even Vanity Fair, which I think had her favored at like 67%.
Yeah.
Uh, Demi Moore did not take home the Best Actress trophy. It instead went to Mikey Madison, who I will say, what did I say on the last episode, brother?
Long shot.
I said if any, no, I said if anybody's going to take it other than her, it's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
be her. I was like, not even long shot or dark horse, but just like if there's a number 2 right there, it's her. And
Hmm.
sure enough, in
17%.
what a lot
Demi
of
Moore was at
people have
62.
in retrospect, and I tend to agree with them, and me and Sunshine have discussed this as well. It felt very much like last year when it was Lily Gladstone, Lily Gladstone, Lily Gladstone, and then it was Emma Stone. And it was like, what the fuck? They what did they do? Uh, it was a little bit of that feeling, but also I'm not mad at it. And I know you still haven't watched Honora, right?
No.
Well, mom, of course, was like, so tell me, so what's this Honora that won all the awards? And I'm like, I proceed to try and explain to her like a little bit of who Sean Baker is and uh, what the movie's about. And I did mention I was like, I can rent it on Prime so we can all watch it because like Gavin hasn't seen it yet. I know he's excited to see it. And she was obviously like, yeah, like I want to watch it. So whenever y'all want to time that out, I know you said you got a long weekend. The the wife and kid are away
Yep, just me and the dogs.
and the the dogs,
Dogs.
they gonna hunt. Okay.
Yep.
So yeah. Anyways, so you watch most of the broadcast. General thoughts. I thought Conan absolutely crushed. I'm
The best,
biased.
the
I'm
halftime
biased.
joke, the halftime
I mean,
joke,
that
perfect.
that was pretty great.
Chef's kiss.
But there was for me, all of it hit
Oh yeah,
to the point where I was like, dude, what is up with this room? Like, there was not enough, you know, to me there was not enough reaction where I was like, guys, he's crushing right now. Like you're
yeah.
missing it. Like, why is nobody laughing? Anyways, I loved it. I think
I missed
if he
Sandler's bit.
wants to be the new, you missed it.
I
If
think
he,
that happened early on.
were you
I didn't see it.
did you end up watching it on YouTube or you
I've
just
seen
heard
bits of
about
it.
it? Gotcha. It was
I've
yeah.
seen reels of it.
It was it was very funny. Again, if anything, I was like, I wanted more Conan. Again, we took away 5 original songs, which I'm glad they did away with, but then they snuck in like 8 musical numbers, basically, like over the course of the night. And that's a little beyond me, where I'm just like, I don't know that we need that much of like, I don't, is that what people are coming to the telecast for? I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't understand the James Bond tribute. Like I don't.
It baffling to pretty much everybody I talk to as well. But just again, who is watching that and going to the water cooler the next day at work and they're like, you know what my favorite part was? The James Bond tribute. It was so great. Did you see it? The
Except.
only the only way it's being referred to is like, what the fuck was that? Like what did that mean? What?
Mhm.
And obviously, the Broccoli's just sold it off to Amazon. So there's some thought that like the Broccoli's wanted this to be like a final, hey, this was Bond as you know it, and now it's going to be something different. There's also the thought that like I don't know this, I have nothing to back this up, but presumably if Amazon knew they were making this acquisition, they funnel some money into the production budget of the Oscars and they're like, hey, why don't you do a little tribute to James Bond, which is going to be in the news with this merger and like just in general, we'll have like goodwill going on. And I think it had the exact opposite effect where people were baffled by it and like, why?
The
Is this an
only
anniversary? What's
the only thing
happening?
that's the only thing that would have saved it is if you would have had whoever was going to be the next James Bond come out and be like, and tonight we introduce a tribute to it, and Nick
You know,
Offerman just says like, oh, and featuring your new James Bond,
You know
something
what?
like that.
You just called it. If all of that whole like 10-minute musical medley, if all of that was a build up to, and now introducing the next James Bond, like that's great television. That's all
Yeah.
anybody would be talking about.
hmm
What a great idea,
hmm
brother. We give these out for free.
Bezos,
Uh,
I'm here for free, baby. It's just I gave you my number off pod. It's fine. You know my account. You see what I buy. It's fine. Um, Yeah, no, that's
jeez.
honestly that's what I was thinking in my mind. I was like, are they about to announce like who he is? And I'm thinking like, you're dumb for thinking that. Like I said that out loud to myself. And
I
Becky was
think
like,
that's a
what? I was like,
fantastic idea. That would have been so cool,
yeah,
actually, in retrospect. Uh, but yeah, I thought, again, way too long. That's a constant complaint. I thought it was a weird mishmash of the way they presented the awards.
yeah.
Like, one thing I did really like was the members of cast presenting to the technical, like to the crews for some of the
Mm-hmm.
technical awards, like costume and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was a great idea. And I'm like, dude, they should definitely keep that going like every year because it manages to give you that thing where like people one of the criticisms is like oh people kind of tune out in the midsection when the smaller awards are happening whereas I'm like those are always the best moments are the people who you don't normally get to see and usually there's some sweet moments and that's always a highlight usually for me. But in order to like keep everybody engaged, it's like, yeah, if you have the presenters coming out and it's like, oh, that's a famous person I recognize, even though this is for, you know, costume or some, whatever.
Well, see, my thing is if you're
I
gonna do
thought that,
something like costume, have if you're trying to save time, like again, I get you have presenters, but like have a presenter come out in like a costume relative to one of the films that's like there. You know what I'm saying?
well, I
That
mean,
like,
Bowen did that essentially. I mean, it was
yeah,
part of a larger joke essentially, but I I like that as a concept, but then like with the acting categories, they were all over the place. Like, of course, RDJ comes out and crushes it because he can make any of those interactions seem interpersonal, whether they have a history or not. But then you have Dave Joy Randolph like coming out, and God bless her, fantastic, phenomenal actress. But it was like, yeah, she's reading from a script, and like not all of this feels prepared as opposed to like genuine. So I was like, okay. And then I think it was an actress and some of them they just did clip packages for because they didn't want to
right.
like direct address, I think specifically Carlos Sofia Gascon, who Conan had like an absolute like dude, that was one of the more brutal jokes of the night and well deserved and well delivered. Uh, yeah, those are general thoughts on the broadcast. It was way too long. Hulu screwed up the live stream, and it did become a little predictable at a certain point in the night when it was like the Honora wave is firmly happening. It's gonna sweep, and it did. It's which again was a pleasant surprise. It was like in my top 10 last year. I think it's a fantastic movie. It's like my third favorite Sean Baker movie, and
Yeah.
that's all right. You know what I'm saying? I hope a lot of other people go watch Red Rocket, go watch Tangerine, go watch The Florida Project. Like, please, please do that. And I can't wait to see what he does next. I thought all of his speeches, like the way they were split up across, the fact that like, oh, I just went for screenplay. Oh, I just went for editing.
One
Oh, I just went for director. What he had to say in all of those individual moments were just fantastic, man. I thought he won the night. It managed to be one of those things where obviously I've seen a lot of like back. You're always going to have backlash to whatever ends up winning, but I think it managed to be like a run of like, oh my God, this is winning everything. But I was happy every time it happened. And it just like I felt genuinely just like good for that whole team. So
one thing I did appreciate, I don't know if you caught it, was that every time something from Dune won, they all shouted out the director and thanked him. And I was like, that's pretty dope, man. Like if you know that like your boy didn't even get nominated for best director, but he's been in all these other things, like it's in these other categories. Obviously, Timmy was in the movie, but he wasn't, the Dylan performance is what he's there for, which is fine. But like the fact that they wouldn't even give him a nod for like best director for that, and so everybody who wins for something technical for it shouts him out and says we had the best guy. Like that to me, that was nice that they all decided to do that. Like that wasn't something that, you get to say what you want however many seconds you get. But the fact that they were all like, and we had the best director. He was great. He let us do everything. He was great to work
I
with.
think
I thought that was kind of neat.
I think the general consensus is that if it's gonna happen for him for the Dune franchise, which conceivably it still may not, but three is where he will be honored and potentially Timmy is honored for that movie, and potentially it takes Best Picture. There's a lot of people thinking like Return of the King type trajectory of like they just wait and it gets some technicals along the way, but like then it just sweeps and destroys everything in its path for the third one. Who knows? Let's just recap for everybody, and then we will get on to discussing one of the most anticipated movies of 2025 from one of the most impressive Oscar runs in recent memory, and probably the best picture winner uh,
In the
the
past
last two
decade,
decades,
2 decades, yeah.
possibly. I guess like No Country's maybe the next one I put up in the. conversation against it. That's '07. So
Are you talking like just wins in general or like the way it happened? Because if you're talking wins in general, then you got to put up. Oh, no, no, it's Moonlight. Sorry, got the wrong answer here. But yeah.
I'm just saying movie in general, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually now you're reminding me that I'm like, I mean, Moonlight's up there in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Moonlight, No Country, Parasite, feel good. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. That's a conversation to have. But right now, let's just run through it real quick. Okay, best documentary short went to The Only Girl in the Orchestra. I did not get this correct.
Okay.
Did you no, you don't need to mark it down. Pull up your text, go to your text with me,
Mhm.
go to the
Yeah, I'm in there.
second one down. If you click on it now, it'll
Hmm.
take you in, it'll show you how many you have correct,
Oh, okay. How many?
and
What do
you
you
can
have?
just go through the category. Well, we're gonna reveal that at the end, brother. That's the
Okay.
whole point.
All
I
right.
have my number. I know what it is. I already looked at yours as well, but we're not going to tell everybody how it shakes out yet.
Okay,
Okay.
good. All right.
So, moving on to best short film, live action. I got this correct. I went with I'm Not a Robot. What did you have?
What did I have?
Are you on there yet?
Yeah, I'm not a robot.
Just okay. And just to clarify for everybody, what did you have on documentary short?
Oh, the only girl in the orchestra.
Oh, you did get that one. Okay.
No, no, no. Sorry, I had Death by Numbers.
Okay, yeah. You got to look for the your pick versus
That's right.
the winner star. Okay.
Okay.
Moving right along, this is best short film, animated. It's went to In the Shadow of the Cypress, which was heavily favored, I should mention. I picked Yuck. Got this
So did
wrong.
I.
Okay. Yeah. What are you going to do? Best visual effects. I picked Dune Part 2.
As did I.
Kind of a no-brainer there. Best sound also went to Dune Part 2. I think we both nailed this.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Best production design went to Wicked. I pled my case for The Brutalist, and I was wrong.
As was
Uh,
I.
and we probably should have seen this coming. Wicked did pretty well, all things considered. Uh, what did you have there?
Same issue, the brutalist.
Word. Okay. Best makeup and hairstyling. We got this. Everybody nailed this to the wall. I was a little worried it might not happen, but it went to the substance as it should. Very well deserved. Unfortunately, it would be the only Oscar the substance would receive that evening. Still, I just want to step back. I know you've seen it now. We don't have to do like a full-on review, but I think we're both pretty big fans of it.
Hmm. I
Probably the
was a big
best.
fan of the story. I didn't want it to win for like, if it was going to win for like movie, I'm watching. I'm like, okay, I get it. You have these weird camera angles, and you're like, depth of field's off, and you're different and all that. Like, I get it. You've seen a Sam Raimi movie. You've seen the Sam. Ask me a show like, stop it.
You've
Just
seen it.
stop it. Get
I'd
some help.
say,
Stop it.
well, no,
Like
see,
you.
I
The
disagree.
movie itself. The
I
movie
love how
itself
much
is great.
I love how much she wears her influences on her sleeve.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
I
get it.
would have liked to have seen her win for director, specifically because the way that she is utilizing that cast and the way she like chose those people for those roles is so like multi-layered, I think, that like mom kind of brought this up again without like bringing out exactly what she was talking about, but she was kind of like, it's kind of weird that Demi made this up. So I was like, mom, but that's what's so interesting about it is like, and that's what's so interesting about the trajectory of that character is they're not an innocent in it. It's not asking you necessarily to like 100% feel sorry for this person necessarily because so much of it is self-inflicted to a
It's all
degree.
self-inflicted.
Well, it's all no,
That
but
was my
I'm saying,
favorite part of the whole thing was like, there aren't two of you. It's just you. Click. Like
and
that
again,
was the
that's what
brilliance of it.
but bringing in that like metatextual layer again of like Demi Moore is somebody who has contributed to the like impossible body image created by celebrity that is presented to the world. Like she's taken part in it when she posed nude when she was pregnant and like all of the body comeback after that in the early 2000s, all of that stuff. setting an unattainable standard. She was part of that machine. And
Yeah.
as much as she was also judged by it in her career and judged about aging, et cetera, all of that. And I think there's a certain amount of self-awareness on her part and maybe the part of Dennis Quaid, but I don't think it's 100%. I don't think that they know the baggage that they bring to those performances that certain audience members may. And I think the way that Coralie Farge is able to do the dance of all of that and maintain the tone that she does, that's where I'm like, that's fucking directing, man. That's directing. I love that. Again, no shade at all to Sean Baker, but again, if I was going to pull another substance win like out of the hat other than original screenplay, which again, I think if you there's a great breakdown where like she did some very interesting things with the way that screenplay is I'm talking like physically constructed on the page and stuff. I need to find that reel and send it to you. Uh, where are we? I got a little lost.
Editing.
Editing went to Sean Baker for Nora, and I picked him.
Same.
Costume design went to Wicked. I nailed this too.
So did I.
Paul Tazwell, I believe the first African American to win for costume design, if I'm not mistaken. I think there was a lot of people like saying things in their speeches, like, you know, in regards to things being history making. And then it's like the producers forced Conan to then come out and be like, hey, we just wanted to reiterate. Like, that's and I was just like, okay, this is like it was over and over again. Best cinematography went to The Brutalist, and I fucked this up. I really should have picked it.
Yeah, I
What did
picked
you
Dune
have?
too.
Yes,
I
so
picked
did
Dune
I.
too.
And honestly, again, if the of what I saw here, I never watched Maria, which was on Netflix, because I heard it was just okay. And Angelina ended up not getting the Best Actress nomination, so I was like, okay, I don't think I need to make time for it. So, but I gotta say, when they showed this category, I was like, dude, these are some good looking movies. Amelia Perez, not so much so, but these are some good looking movies. But The Brutalist, I mean, on the big screen in VistaVision or shot in VistaVision, and that whole experience, I should have picked it. This was an unforced error. I should have known this was the one spot where it was going to get some technical love. So, okay, best original song. Again, I shot myself in the foot. I should have just picked one of the Amelia Perez songs. What did you pick here?
Like a bird.
I picked it as well from Sing Sing because it's the only one that I saw, and it is a
Hey,
good
hey,
song.
we ride together, we die
We die together.
together.
Exactly. Okay, moving along to original score. Daniel Blumberg for The Brutalist. This was my pick, and it was, in fact, the winner.
And it was mine as well.
Cool. Great score, by the way. I assume you will see The Brutalist at some point,
Yeah, yeah.
whenever it is streaming. Uh,
Yeah, I'm just gonna put it up on my 70 millimeter projector I'm gonna buy for it. Just put it on the side
okay,
of my wall.
sounds like plan. Best documentary feature went to No Other Land. This was probably the best speech of the evening. Uh, and this was also my pick. And
That's
it
my pick.
was definitely one of the most memorable moments of the evening. So I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, was
Uh,
this the one where they didn't know if they were gonna get visas to be able to get in the country or something like that? Or was that somebody else that was like just
that was for one of the short film categories, I
that? Okay, I can't
believe.
remember.
No, No Other Land is it's co-directed by an Israeli and a Palestinian, and it is
Yeah.
about the occupation that's going on in the West Bank, I believe.
Hmm.
And it's just, you know, detailing their daily lives
Fucking
there.
sucks, bro.
And it still I I don't know if in the wake of the win it did get some form of distribution, but you know, infamously at this point, it had not been properly released prior. They had an Oscar campaign for it, but no studio would touch it. So
Hmm.
I think you could go to I think Channel 4 in England. was like
Yeah.
showing it. So if you had access to a like UK VPN, you could
Hmm.
watch it, but I don't know if it's been made available here yet. So keep you posted on that. I do plan on checking it out whenever it is, excuse me, readily available here. Best animated feature went to Flow, which was my pick.
As was mine.
I'll remind everybody that is on HBO Max right now, and it is a terrific film and highly recommend it. Best international feature went to I'm Still Here, which was my pick. What did you go with here?
I'm still here.
Yes, and we talked through this one. Thank God it did not go to Amelia Perez, but Amelia Perez still has, I think, just a few too many Oscars.
More
All
than you'd
things
like.
considered. Yes, more than you'd like. Best adapted screenplay. I took a big old wild, swing with my heart and went with Nickel Boys, hoping against hope that something cool would happen. And it went to Conclave. You know, talk, 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 to talk, talk, talk.
Yep.
I don't mean to. I feel like I've been really hard on it, but
Yeah, I got your reel you sent me with the
oh,
girl with the
the
giant
girl who
pope hat on
thought
or whatever.
the girl who thought Conclave was gonna sweep. That was shit was so funny. That
Yeah.
was yeah.
All
Shout out
those
to
are
whoever created that. That was
all those are pretty spot on.
yeah. Uh, best original screenplay went to Honora. I fucked up here. I doubted our boy, and I went with Jesse Eisenberg because he won some of the precursors, and
So did I.
I thought they were gonna spread the wealth a little bit. But I wasn't mad at it, dude, because as soon as screenplay happened, I don't know if it was screenplay and then editing or vice versa, whatever order that happened in, I was like, Honora is winning Best Picture, he's winning Best Director, like those things are definitely happening. But I still was not expecting the Mikey Madison win at
No.
all. Like that, again, would have blown my mind if I could have seen it in real time. Hulu, you screwed me. That's Disney, right? You screwed me, Disney.
Yeah. The mouse strikes again.
Who's the who's the big cheese over there? Like
Eisner's back.
when I'm mad at Max and
Eisner
over, I know to
Eisner's
be like
back.
Zaslav, Zaslav, you suck, Zaslav, you idiot.
So they had Bob, is it no Bob Iger? Is he back? Iger's back. Whoever was there, he left, and then like they got in that whole thing with the state of Florida.
It's Iger, not Michael Eisner.
Iger, that's it. Eisner is the
Iger,
one that
Bob
Bob Iger. Yeah,
Iger.
he's
Yeah.
back there now. I think he's got like one more year left, and they're supposed to be searching for one because when he left, he was like, "I'm done." Then the guy who came in after that, they said kind of fumbled the whole like transgender Florida thing, and then that whole like we can govern ourselves in Florida deal, which they beautifully, handled that as far as like in perpetuity and a contract goes. Um, and so they basically asked Iger to come back and I think he said he'd come back for 2 years, and they had to actively like find somebody in that 2 years. So I think this is his last year. If not, it'll be 2026 would be his last year. I can't remember.
Okay. Best supporting actor went to Kieran Culkin, as expected. Uh, the 76% favorite still seems kind of low. Seems like it should have been like 99.9% sure. I don't know. The odds on favorite. I guess you got to spread it around a little bit. Okay, supporting actress. Again, no surprise, went to Zoe Saldana. I will mention, just because a lot of people have called it out, Amelia Perez won again for original song. Uh, it also won for best supporting actress. And was there not? Why am I thinking there's a third that I'm not thinking of?
There's just no, just one of those two
It was
from what
just
I
those
understand.
two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Original
Well,
song.
regardless,
One more
regardless,
than it needed.
well, regardless, neither one of those speeches, if I'm not mistaken, I think this has been documented. I will be honest, I fast forwarded through some of the speeches, particularly for movies that I had not seen and did
Shocker.
not care about. Um, I've since seen the original song win, and that was one of the cringiest things I've ever seen in my entire life. Uh, but people have pointed out neither one of those speeches, not a single address to the trans community, which I think in and of itself is an acknowledgement that they know that they completely fucked up. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Whereas like this would even be disingenuous for us to even attempt to like olive branch this shit at this point. It's kind of more like, okay, you take my, you would think it would be, let me take my award and go and get out of here without any, but no, it was in the case for original song, it was like literally the two of them singing.
Yeah, that was,
That
I was
was,
like, are you fucking kidding me
yeah.
right now? Like,
So yeah, that was that. And Best Actor went to Adrian Brody for The Brutalist. And then I think he's still talking. I'd have to go check. But my God, as I text as I texted Evan Tuig that evening, because we were chatting a little bit back and forth during the broadcast, I said, dude, nobody knows how to make you immediately regret giving them an award more than Adrian Brody. Just just I think through the course of those almost 7 minutes, I think just the sinking feeling in the entire audience of like, yo, we really should have voted for Timmy.
mhm.
We should have done it because he would have been and he would have gotten up there and he would have been, weird but interesting and charismatic for probably like a minute, just a little over 45 seconds. He probably
Mhm.
would have gotten in and gotten out. Again, I will point everyone to the greatest acceptance speech in the history of the Oscars. I guess this would be 2001 for the 2000 movies. I could be wrong here. Or no, it's the 2000s Oscars
For the
for the
99 movies.
99 movies. Yes,
Hmm.
excuse me. No, that's not right. Because that's the American Beauty year. What? Oh my God. It's when Traffic wins.
Yeah.
Soderbergh has Traffic and Aaron Brockovich up. Is that 2000 on the
Yeah, so it'd
dot?
be
So it's the
2001.
2001 Oscars. That's what it is. He's up for both, right? He wins for Traffic, and he goes up and he says, I'll thank you all individually. And then he walks off stage. This is the greatest fucking
That
thing
is
ever.
fucking perfect, dude. I don't remember that at all.
He's literally just it might there might be an opener of I'd like to thank the Academy, but if I'm not mistaken, he comes up on stage, he pauses for just a moment, and he says, I'll thank you all individually, and then he leaves. And I was just like, I wish everybody would just like be like, dude, that was the coolest moment ever. I'm just gonna do
And
that.
see, I didn't hear any of this stuff that Nick Offerman was saying about like you have when they call your name, you need to get up here as quickly as possible. Like,
Dude, that was
stop
the other
hugging
thing.
everybody.
Adrian Brody chewed up his entire, I'm sure what was his entire allotted time because he was on the front row, because he was one of the big nominees. He's an Academy Award winner. He was on the front row. If you like, when it's announced, he spends, I swear to God, a solid minute or more in the crowd, hugging everybody around him before he then takes the gum out of his mouth and throws it at his partner who misses it and still picks it up off of the floor. God bless her. A lot of people had a lot to say about that, mind you. And then he proceeded to talk for 6.5 minutes after that. The longest speech in
We
Oscar
need
history.
we should come up
Completely
with some other
self-indulgent,
like we
completely
need
unself-aware. It made me retroactively be like, did I like The Brutalist? Did I like? Did I really like The Brutalist? And I don't know if I did. I don't know if I did. I
I'm
might need to
just
watch it again, and then we maybe need to talk about it. Whenever
I'm
you
gonna
watch it, let me
yeah,
know,
and
and we'll.
I'll point out to you that I called this that they were gonna give it to him. I still picked him because I wanted him to win, having not seen that movie, but I knew they were going to do this because they love giving it to people who've already given once. And again, when the Israel Palestine guys won for that thing, in my head I was like, the Jewish one is winning for the best actor. It's going to happen. That just cemented it right there. Yes, they had a good acceptance speech. We talked about it on the last one, how and
So
how
it's
terrible shit
interesting,
is.
and
But like, I knew that was happening, but there were cues in the show that was like, oh, this is definitely happening now. And
it's
I don't, it doesn't matter because I know Timothy won the SAG award, and that's, you know,
right. Well, obviously, like the SAGs don't really matter that much because Demi won Best Actress there, and then didn't end up, it didn't translate.
again,
And
that's act,
here's
that's your people picking you though.
exactly, that's
I
not
love
the
that more.
whole industry and all the different guilds. I agree with you as far as judging the actual acting performances. SAG should mean more to the actor than the
Do they even
Oscar,
air
which
it
is judged
anymore?
by everybody. It was on Netflix this year, yeah.
Okay, I just didn't know if they aired it on public because I remember like wanting to watch it back in the
I
day.
believe it streamed live, and then you can
Yeah, it
rewatch it
did
whenever you
last
want.
year. I remember it did
Yeah.
last year because I watched it
I
last year,
think
but
they
I didn't
have
know if
it.
they
I
were
think they have it in perpetuity for at least for like 5 years or so.
because
Okay.
that's the better award show is what we're saying here. Watch SAG if you want to actually see people who appreciate their craft, you know,
Yeah.
awarding the people that should. Because famously, Sandler got the SAG, didn't even get nominated for Best Actor for Uncut Gems. So that just shows you the difference between the people who are on screen in front of you that have a card for their industry, the power they have to be like, we're not working anymore, versus the guys who are like, this is a business, this makes us money. It's not about entertainment, it's about what we can get as a return on investment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
In my mind, they all talk like that.
yeah. I wanted to point out it is interesting that I agree with you. The trend is give it to the in the case of Best Actor, give it to the veteran or usually the guy who it's time or but also famously this kind of made me think of another one, slightly different case, mind you, but Sean Penn versus Mickey Rourke,
Yeah.
Milk versus the wrestler, where Mickey had picked up a lot. He had the comeback narrative, all of that sort of stuff. He had won a lot of the precursors, but then at the end of the day, it's Sean Penn winning his second one, uh,
Mhm.
and second or third.
I feel like that was second at the time. Maybe I'm wrong. Did he win
Is
for
it?
I Am Sam?
No. He
Is that
won
what it
for.
was? Mystic River.
I thought you were just having fun. It
Oh,
was
I, it
yes, it was obviously Mystic River,
was the
and then it
gunman.
was
The
Milk.
gunman. That's what he
Did
won
he
for.
win? Did he win for Dead Man Walking? That's the question. Is he a
Oh,
three-timer?
I don't know.
Does he have three? There's not many with three.
Maybe it was at close range. Maybe it was
You're just
yeah, I'm
naming
just naming
movies.
his movies now. Yeah. Maybe it was
Okay.
that thing he did with the Ukraine before the war started. I can't even you
I'm doing it. I'm doing
I'm
it. Hold
thinking
on.
the pledge. No, it's not that's why am I saying the pledge? That's Jack Nicholson. I could not come up with another
Yeah,
Sean Penn movie.
he won two. He was nominated for Dead Man Walking. He's also
Wait,
nominated
did
for
he do,
Sweet and Lowdown, and he was nominated for I Am Sam. I forgot he
I
did
thought he
legit
was.
get the nomination. You are not
Yeah.
incorrect. He was nominated, but no, it was just Milk and Mystic River. But another one where it was like the logical thinking was, oh, he's already got one. And same thing, that Mystic River year, you have Bill Murray, who it's like, hey, this is a great story. This is a great narrative.
Hmm.
And then it doesn't happen. What's also interesting in both of those cases, Mickey Rourke, famous asshole. Bill Murray, famous asshole.
Oh yeah, no.
Sean Penn, giant famous asshole. And it's almost like it's weird that he trumped both of those in both of those cases.
What years were those? Was that before or after he went down to New Orleans in that boat after Katrina and was like, I'm sheriff now. I'm helping
When
these people.
when was
Was that
Katrina? When was Katrina?
2005?
2005. So that's right after the Mystic River win and right
Okay.
before Milk. Yeah,
So
it's right in
okay.
that era.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, something to think about. But it's interesting. They do that in Best Actor, right? But then in Best Actress, it's like, oh, we love the established actress, blah 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 blah. And then at the last second, no, we like the ingenue. We like the
Yeah.
ingenue. We want to give it to a young up and comer, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
That
I
seems to
mean,
happen
how
over and again.
see, this is my thing. This is my thing. How long did it take Jamie Lee Curtis to get one? 40 fucking years?
And she wins for supporting.
Yeah, exactly. Supporting.
When arguably we'd have to go back and look at the nominees. But the year of True Lies, I will stand by it once again. Schwarzenegger should have been nominated for Best Actor, and she should have been nominated for Best Actress. It's one of the
Full on
best two.
Titanic sweep,
It's one of
4
the
years
best
before
two
the movie's
hand.
made.
It's one of the best two-handers ever. I mean, you could have snuck her into supporting that year, but it is a co-lead performance. Uh, like I genuinely think the best acting performance of his career and one of the best acting performances of her career, and it would have been perfect. It
Did you
should have been
watch
in
Maggie?
consideration that year.
Did you watch Maggie?
No.
Okay, I would put it up there. That's a bit, yeah. I appreciate that. I like that performance from him a lot. Definitely like a big twist, not what you're expecting. But
Yeah.
again, he's older and like he's had the chance. But yeah, in his prime, I would say that's the best. Like if you're like, what's the one I should really like over time? What's going to be the best performance? It's going to be True Lies.
Yeah, and then
Because
I
he's
put
doing every
I
romantic comedy thing you could think of on the flip side.
yeah,
Mistaken identity, the two, double life thing, all that. But he just happens to be, oh, I'm an everyman, but I happen to be like a giant secret agent.
yes. So good. Okay. Anyways, we are almost done. This took a long time. Adrian Brody, yeah, he did that thing. And then there was the upset for Best Actress where it went to Mikey Madison. So obviously we both got this dead wrong.
Kid, bro.
And then Sean Baker took Best Director. We nailed this, and Honora for Best Picture as well. I don't know if anybody has been able to chart that, so I will clean it up for you nice and clean. I had 14 out of 23. Gavin had 18. For the first time in Arc of E
No,
Network
no, 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 no.
history,
Is this who am I looking at? Am I looking at yours?
the second one in the text, Gavin.
No, because I'm looking at the one that's under where I sent. Oh, the first one's yours. I thought I was losing the whole time, but I actually won. Holy
Okay,
shit.
so
Never.
Gavin's picks were not his
I'd like to thank
picks.
the Academy for everyone who voted the way they did. I knew deep down in my heart that it was going to be a hard night, but we got through it.
Yeah,
And I just want to
in the
say, Mr. Brody, take a lap.
all right, okay.
I was
Uh,
looking at the wrong one the whole time, dude. It's like
Yeah, I
14.
looked
That's
at it in
terrible.
advance, like I because I
Yeah.
realized you could click on them and it would show you like
Oh,
just
so then,
the
oh, that
count.
makes sense because everyone I'm telling you, oh no, I picked that one. That was your pick, not mine. Oh,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you beat me by four by a wide margin. In one of the most chaotic and up in the air years, Gavin finally took the reins. I don't know how long we've actually been doing this
our pets' heads are falling
consecutively,
off. Everything
but
kept saying
our
that, dude.
pets' heads are falling off.
I've seen three of the movies on the best picture list.
Amazing. Again, in a year where you barely saw anything, he
I
comes from
had a
behind.
child, for Christ's sake,
So,
and I still come
yes.
out on top.
So, so it's up to you. I will give you time to decide how you want to celebrate. You had mentioned uh, that you just watched Deadwood recently, and not that would not be twisting my arm in any way. So, if you want to think of something that's a little more arm twisty, like, oh, I'm gonna make him do this, but whatever you want the prize to be for you winning this year,
Hmm.
you think on it.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have my
Think
answer
on
next
it
time we record.
while we discuss. My, I would say because a lot of stuff was shifting around the schedule, easily one of my three most anticipated movies of this year, which was supposed to be out a little while ago. And let's get right into it. Mickey 17. All right, so this is refreshing. Uh, a new review, starting off 2025 strong. We've hit Den of Thieves. You saw that? Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just saying you're off to a good start. I hope we
yeah.
see more this year.
Two,
Okay.
two, and two, and two inside of 3 months. I can't.
Again, got lucky this week. Just happened to have
Yeah.
a free weekend. Very, very happy for you. We both saw Mickey 17 several hours ago.
Yes.
The latest from director Bong Joon-ho, director of Parasite, Okja, Snowpiercer, uh, Memories of Murder, Mother, The Host, etc., etc.
I just saw the host on Netflix or on HBO.
Yes.
Like it's
Uh,
available there. I need to go watch that.
you know, one of the best in the game. My second favorite South Korean filmmaker, right behind Mr. Park Chan-wook, and he's delivered his big studio follow-up, much anticipated follow-up to Parasite. Best Picture winner, best uh, international feature winner as well. Best original screenplay, if I'm not mistaken. I think best editing. It cleaned up that year. I'd have to go back and
Hmm.
look, but it did quite well. It was a phenomenon, uh, a huge moment. So it's with great anticipation uh, that we arrive here at Mickey 17, which notably has been delayed a couple times. I believe this was supposed to come out like a year and a half ago. I don't know if strikes and all of that extend, the idea of not having patents and present for press, I'm sure was like, we got to wait for the right moment on this. He's been on an extended press tour as they open this all over the world over the last few months. Uh, but yeah, a little background. There's been there was an early teaser like a year and a half ago. We knew we had Pattinson in the lead, sci-fi concept. Didn't know much else. The first full-length trailer, gave away the whole kit and caboodle essentially. Uh, he's gonna die over and over and
Over and
over again.
over.
Yes. So basic setup. Uh, Mickey, 17, who narrates most of the movie, is the 17th iteration of Mickey Barnes, who signs up to be an expendable on a space colonization trip to a planet known as Niflheim, I believe.
Hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much the setup. He signs up to be the one expendable on the crew, somebody who can perform all of the ridiculous tasks uh, that would be necessary to get to a new planet and colonize it. All the stuff you'd need to test out. Uh, and he can basically be killed at any time whenever they need him to be. And they just print a new version of him that they then upload the previous consciousness into. So there is continuity, but some little subtle differences. That's pretty much the
Tiny.
setup. Yeah.
Hmm.
And I will just say, broad strokes, obviously, I want to go full spoilers. We will do that in just a moment. But overall, what'd you think? I'm also curious what your level of hype going into this was, because you know, I I hope people are going to show up. To me, this is the first big one of the year. Like, I'm very anxious to see how it does. It's a big release. It's playing in IMAX. It's on the large format screens. It's an original sci-fi film with a bona fide movie star at the center of it, from an Academy Award winner that is big and bold and what I'm sure a lot of people will say weird and different, but to me it's just like the bongiest bong that ever bonged movie. It's all of his stuff all rolled into one. What did you think of Mickey 17?
I mean, probably one of the most like original kind of like sci-fi things where
I'm sorry,
they're
I'm saying that, but it is also it I should say it is based on a short story.
well,
Uh,
it's based off a novel.
yeah, I believe a novella or a short novel by Edward Ashton, and he has written it called Mickey Seven, and he has written a follow-up novel that I think is coming out or is available right now. Uh, so it's Bong riffing on that. So I should say, technically, not wholly original, but it's not IP.
No, no, yeah,
It's
no,
it's
it's
an
not a
it's
there's not a graphic novel, there's not a video
it's an
game, there's not
original
another movie
sci-fi
you can go
concept.
look at. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, but and I think that I don't know, it's one of the most like interesting and original things that I think I've seen in sci-fi in a long time. Obviously, like it that genre can be hit or miss because there is so much like, well, they did this already with this thing. So what are you bringing new to the table that's like an interesting look at things? Because I feel like since this has been announced, since I heard about this, I feel like I've seen the like, oh well, they're just you just get cloned. You'll be like to be you again. The same way that like once like Happy Death Day was announced, everybody did the well, you're stuck in the same. Well, it's Groundhog Day basically. But, oh, you're stuck in the same loop and you can't get out. You know, and I think we both agree that like Palm Springs is probably one of the best one of the versions of those. But like, so getting into this sphere of like sci-fi, wholly original in that it's not. There's not a graphic novel to go look at. There's not a video game to go play. So I consider that an original thing. It's a book. You have to go read it. I thought it was probably one of the best, like, most interesting, like, takes on sci-fi, just as far as like what we've seen in the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years. And the to me, the comedy behind it of like how you even get there with like um the circumstances behind how not just Mickey, but like the voyage is taking place in general, I think is hilarious. I was laughing. There's three people in the theater when I
It is
saw
a
it.
yes. I had maybe like 10, 15 people in my screening. Uh some giggles here and there. It was a
Which
lot of
before we
me. Go ahead.
before we start, I will say I did see trailer for Hurry Up Tomorrow, which doesn't make any sense to me. That Bill's just like an extended like video album movie made for the album. Um,
Okay.
and I did see the new A24 Tim Robinson Paul Rudd. I can't. Was it Friendship? Is that the name of the
Friendship.
movie? I cannot
That
fucking wait
I
for
was
that
gonna
movie,
say.
dude.
I mentioned this is one of my three most anticipated. Friendship is my most anticipated movie of
You
the
guys
year.
accepted me too quickly. Did you do it? Uh, I saw Detroiters was on Netflix. I'm like,
At night, I think
we
of
got you.
you.
Oh my God, dude.
I want
We
to
had a
be
couple of good
your man.
hangs, but I think we should just go our separate
That
ways.
is
Oh
okay.
my
I
God.
again, I I'm so trying not to overhype myself, but I've just heard from multiple reputable sources that it is just pound for pound, like one just straight up out of the gate, one of the funniest comedies in recent memory. Like no
Can we
qualifiers, no
please go?
like
Can we
just
please go
kind
see
of
that
that.
together?
We can do that.
Please. Okay, I would love to
Except
do that.
I don't think I'll love to do that because my brother's a little more vocal in the
I
theater.
am. I'm sorry. I
I don't know
am
if
like,
I
dude.
want to be next to that for I don't
You,
just
yeah.
for the
We could go different places because I will never forget
because you're gonna ruin
people
it for
looking.
whatever crowd you're with. So I don't want to be
Exactly.
associated.
I ruined Jackass 3. I ruined The Hangover 2. I ruined everything. Dude, if it's funny, I'm laughing. That's what I'm there for.
I know,
I'm
but
not on my phone.
you gotta find a happy medium, brother, which is basically what I did with Mickey 17, which is the funniest movie I have seen this year easily. And if I'm putting it up against a lot of I mean, I was laughing a lot. I
Yeah.
had a fantastic time in the theater, and I would say it's one that just broad strokes, I was like very warm towards, and like I really enjoyed that. And then the more I sat with it, I was like, I think I kind of loved it. Like, I think I really loved it. I want to see it again, but I had a blast. Uh, in true Bong fashion as well. It is not subtle,
No.
and I am increasingly kind of like whereas I used to not overrate it, but I definitely love movies that have like oh you got to be paying attention there. I love that. Increasingly, I don't really mind a movie that's just like beat me over the fucking head.
Right.
I don't mind it sometimes. And this was one of those instances where I was just like, I 100% get what you're after here. Uh, I don't know if it's gonna lose a lot of its audience like midway through. I'm very curious the reaction coming out of this, particularly when it's coming out. And I think it's weirdly weirdly great that it got delayed. Uh,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of hitting at both the simultaneous best and worst moment for it, because I think there's also going to be a third splintering, if you will, Mickey one, two, three, blah, 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 different factions of the audience here that is not necessarily going to like blanket like, oh fuck this movie, but is going to be like, I'm just not in the mood for this, like
Yeah.
right now. And I totally get that. Uh, for me personally, it's exactly what I needed right now, or
Mhm.
wanted slash needed. Uh, it was a great time. We heavily suggest that you go see it this weekend,
You
and
should.
then come back to the rest of this conversation, which starts right now. Here's the spoiler buzzer going beep, beep, beep. And here's the thing: you can't really spoil this movie. There's really no reason to do a spoiler warning.
Right.
We have
It's
our
pretty
basic
much,
setup.
yeah, it's pretty much what you
Uh,
get in the trailer.
yeah,
I
but
can't, I
now we're gonna
can't.
delve. Now we're gonna just delve into some of the details. So we open with 17 presumably about to die, and of course you're like, what the hell? I thought it was
Hmm.
called Mickey 17, so I was like, clearly we're gonna build back up to this moment. But when we get into the backstory and the state of Earth, and the fact that like the whole reason he even ends up in this situation, I love that. I, some of the best narration in like what was the last like, oh dude, they crushed it with the narration in that. I'm just trying to think.
No,
I
if I'm
don't
going to
think.
be honest, it's the Black Dahlia for me. Josh
Okay.
Hartnett like Nick giving me such like just
Brian De Palma's
exposition.
The Black Dahlia. Is that one of those where they split it? Is it him and Aaron Eckhart, or is it all just
It's
Hartnett?
all Hartnett.
Okay.
He's explaining things that you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah,
But they're so
write to
quippy.
us. Write to us, thearkofe at gmail.com with your favorite narration from a movie from the last, I don't know how many years. I mean, obviously, the GOAT is and forever will be Ray Liotta in Goodfellas,
Oh, yeah, yeah, of
the
course. That's
best
a
narration of all
masterclass.
time.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah,
Doesn't
this
De Niro do a lot of that in Casino, though?
he does, and it's great too. I just watched both of those again recently. Uh, 35-year anniversary and 30-year anniversary for those. Check them out. Okay, uh, we're in full spoiler territory. Wait, I got lost. What were we doing? What are we doing?
We're trying to figure out so he's from New York? Where's he from?
Mickey Barnes?
Mickey Bonds. Where's he? Because he, like, the whole time, I was like, you know what? This man. This man probably has
Yes,
a.
please just go
I've
off
seen
for a
him.
minute on the
I have
performance.
seen him. I've seen him talk, and he's very soft spoken. I know that I think he probably suffered through getting drugged through all them damn vampire movies and having to go sell it. And it's like, you could literally just go there and be like, next, I'm just here. So you can Marshawn Lynch all the press for all those Twilight movies. I'm here so I don't get fined. They paid me to sit here. You've all read the books. You all know what's going on. Yes, Kristen Stewart's nice. Sure, Peter Fontanelli's cool. This is the bad guy in this, whatever. You could just do that, for those 4 movies. But I feel like he got so like strung out on all those. And he's such a like quiet, nice, kind of reserved guy. And probably really respectful. But I don't think I can't think of a movie where I've ever heard him just use his own voice, like just speaking. Because my favorite performance of him to date, Good Time, it's a New York accent. This is probably the closest to like that I've heard, but it still didn't sound like it was New York, New York. Might have been like somewhere in the
All
Northeast, but
of
I couldn't place it. Maybe like
same thing.
north of New York, but lower Boston, somewhere in there. I don't know, but it
And
was
then you have
perfect.
the lighthouse where it's like a whole other different like range at the same
Yeah,
time. Uh yeah, the man is chameleonic while
yes.
being one of the most like recognizable and
Thank you. That's
handsome people on the planet. Somehow manages to literally disappear into like every role that he takes on these days,
and
including
it doesn't seem like he tries at all. It doesn't seem like he tries at all to act at all. He just does it,
you
you
don't
know?
I that is something I definitely agree with. I don't feel like you see the effort. It doesn't feel like this arduous thing. And the fact that he is this weird, elusive, goofy, makes up shit in interviews, like very playful, all of that sort of stuff, uh, only adds to it.
Yeah.
Only adds to the mystique that it doesn't seem like he's some dark, tortured artist. You know what I
No.
mean? He's not playing this like, oh, and I'm a method actor, blah blah blah. He just like, yeah, dude, he just comes in, disappears. So that is one of the biggest takeaways, which I guess we already knew going in. I was so excited to just see him on Bong's wavelength because I thought the two of them were just a match made in heaven, and their press tour has been very enjoyable to watch across social media. I don't know if any of that has come across
I'm
your
sure it will
screen,
now
but
that I've searched for it on my phone somehow.
yes,
It'll
but
pop up in my reels.
particularly in the Korean, the South Korea tour of like them going to different restaurants and stuff together. It's been a fun time. And I was just like, this is the perfect time for this as well. Bong has all the clout in the world. He's going to get the budget. Pattinson's got again all the perfect fusion of like I think we're going to have a really solid opening weekend because I think the fact that this is a big studio release is going to bring out some of those tryhards that maybe
Hmm.
haven't been fully activated in recent years.
Hmm.
So I think you're going to see a good turnout from that. I don't know what the word of mouth's going to be like. But then I would, I think he's also in the interim picked up a lot of guys like you and me that are just like, oh, that's the dude. Like that's one of the dudes now, man. Like
Yeah.
he's just one of the best of his generation. Kind of a like day and date, whatever's next on the docket. I'm there for it. You mentioned the accent earlier. I would say the closest to his natural speaking voice, and it's still not, which is again what's so brilliant, is Tenet. But Tenet is like him doing a
Yeah.
completely different English accent than what
Yeah.
his
Just like
natural
not,
English
yeah, not
accent
where
is.
he's
You know what I
from.
mean?
Yeah. It's just whatever
It's
Shire
just a
or wherever he's
different
from. Yeah.
region. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Absolutely. So again, even that, just chameleonic. You never quite see him. And he also notably has not played like again, shy of good time, which is like a heightened set of circumstances, etc. But, and that is like, that's just a guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that I look at and I'm like, but can they just play like a normal person convincingly at
Right.
a certain point? And he still has that, which is amazing when he can also do something as wild and over the top as like, uh,
The lighthouse.
The Lighthouse, for instance, but I was thinking of what's the one with Tom Holland and Sebastian Stan? I think it was a Netflix original. I didn't really care for it, but it was a period piece, and he plays like the fucked up preacher. He comes in like deep into the movie, but
No
he's
idea
one
what
of
you're
the.
talking about.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna kill me. So
Yeah.
talk more
Please
about
tell me.
Mickey. No, you talk more about Mickey 17 though for a little bit while I look up the name of this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, so my thing that I love that I feel like other things do too is that
Excuse me. The Devil All the Time. Do you remember this one?
I do remember it. I got it confused with Cherry that was because
Uh,
I had a member whose son was in Cherry with Tom Holland that I knew because his son got Tom to call him on the phone and talk to him, and I was like, that's pretty cool that your kid got to do that for you. But it wasn't the Devil all the time. It was the that Cherry movie that Tom Holland did. Devil all the time. Is it something like? It's not like it's like a period piece, maybe like the 30s depression, maybe
Sinister
like
characters converge around a young man devoted to protecting those he loves in a post-war backwoods town teeming with corruption and brutality. Bill Skarsgård was in there.
wow,
Uh,
what kind of makeup they put on
Riley
him.
Keough, Jason Clarke.
I think I need to go watch this tonight. That sounds dope.
It didn't fully work for me. It has
Hmm.
good elements and
Which means
bad
I'll love it.
elements, but
Which means I'll love it.
I was gonna say, but Pattinson is worth the price of admission. It is a long movie, but he's worth watching in it.
Speaking of Netflix, you know it was kind of okay, but I was there for because my boy was in it. That Zero Day thing. I didn't know Dan Stevens was in there, and I stayed for him. You
Looks
know.
like an incredible cast, but I did not hear great things coming off of the first couple episodes, so I
Yeah,
hadn't checked it out yet.
it's not. I mean, it's not what you think it's going to be. It is what it is. But some of the performances are pretty good.
Okay, so
But yeah,
back to Mickey
so
17. I cut you off.
the
You were
the
gonna say.
idea that like it's just like okay, like Looper, it's like okay, time travel is invented, it's immediately outlawed. So it's like, hey, we figured out a way to like clone and like reprint bodies. Immediately outlawed. We're not doing
Yeah.
this on Earth. What about
Turns out one of the guys who developed the technology is a full-on serial
a
killer
fucking
who has
serial
been
killer?
using the clones of himself, the copies of himself, as alibis to commit brutal murders against homeless people.
Yes. Okay, and see, that's the thing. That is the thing. That gives you any argument you have right there for wait a minute.
I'm
What? Like,
laughing, but it's
dude,
so dark. The
it is
movie
so
is
fucking
so
dark, dude.
bleak, but the tone that he strikes just had me smiling throughout. It establishes in the first like 5 minutes that I was just like, okay, I am locked in for the ride because I was chuckling at just the bleakest shit, dude. What an
Dude, I
existence.
was dying because I was like, macaroons? They went up on macaroons.
Yes, okay.
What?
The reveal, the whole backstory, that that the whole reason they end up in this situation is because he trusted his buddy Timo. Fucking Stephen Yun, dude. Dude, okay, first of all, never trust Stephen Yun
Right.
ever.
But
And
trust him to
particular
fucking knock it out in whatever role he is in. One
one
of the
of
best
I
actors
was gonna say
working today.
next to Pattinson, I was gonna say I gotta check their age range. I think they're pretty close. Uh, those are two of my favorite guys doing it,
Yeah,
period. I will
hands down.
say again and again, if you have not seen Stephen Yeun in Burning, one of the best singular performances I've ever seen, period, in anything. He's on another planet. Still my favorite thing he's ever done. But did you see Okja, Bong's Netflix movie? So it was post
What
Snowpiercer, pre
is
Parasite.
what is burning?
Burning is another South Korean film from, I believe, Lee Chon-dong, but I might be mistaken on that. Forgive
He's
me.
a father as a little boy.
No. Burning is uh, a fantastic movie that I barely want to describe, but it's about a guy who meets a former like college or high school friend,
Hmm.
meets this girl while he's just out and about, reconnects with her, and she's like, "Hey, I'm about to go out of town. Uh, can you watch my cat for me?" And he's like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, sure, no problem." Um, and so he does for a while. He keeps coming to this apartment, feeding the cat or whatever, and thinking, kind of in the back of his head, like, "Yo, when she comes back, like, it's on. Like, I've been,
Hmm.
I've made my move, blah, blah, blah." When she shows back up with Stephen Yun, and you're like, all right, where's this going? And I don't really want to spoil where it goes. It is one of, oh my God, the movie is incredible. One of my favorite.
Where is it available anywhere?
Um, I think, hold on,
What is the show I'm thinking of with him and Ali Wong?
Beef.
Beef is what I'm thinking of. He was great in that too.
Yes,
Again, everything
fantastic
he
performance.
touches.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Burning for our listeners is available right now on Tubi, Roku channel, Pluto TV, Plex, Fandor, but most importantly for you, Gavin, it's on Peacock right now.
Yes. Okay, maybe I'll go watch that after this. Maybe I'll finish the first season of
It's here's the
Boardwalk
thing
Empire. It's
you
like
know,
3 hours, isn't it?
it's 2.5 hours, and it is one of those you got to do it in one shot. So maybe you don't watch it tonight if you feel like you're gonna pass out on it, but
Are there subtitles?
there are subtitles. Yes, it is entirely
Ah,
subtitled. You should probably do it tomorrow. But
yeah. After
one
my
of one
chiropractor appointment, I'll do it tomorrow.
again, Stephen Yeun, one of the best performances you'll ever see in anything, and Burning, just I would say like if I had to make like a top 100 list right now, it's definitely on there. Like one of just the best movies I've ever seen. So good. Back to Mickey 17.
Yeah.
Stephen Yeun is his buddy Timo, and they uh they had a macaron shop that went under. So, they took out money to the loan sharks. A guy they shouldn't have, who had who notably uses a two-pronged chainsaw. Uh, to
Nothing doesn't
extract
matter to him.
pieces
He
of.
just likes watching people right as they're about to
Dude,
die.
I'm sorry, but flash forward to when they have them caged up or whatever, and Yun is like, "Hey, he sent me this secret message. It says all I have to do is cut you into 13 separate pieces
Jesus.
and mail you
It's
out to
okay. They're
them."
just gonna print you out again.
Oh my God, dude. I again, I don't know if everybody's gonna go for the tone, but I was dying. This one, you said you had three people in your theater.
Yeah,
I think we could have run them right out of there, man. Maybe I should have been with you because we would have been right there together, brother. I
yeah.
I was stifling myself through a lot of this.
And really, the stuff I was laughing at the most that I did not expect, I did not know was in this. Fucking Mark Ruffalo, dude. Is that guy not like?
So the
How do you
Ruffalo,
fucking nail it with like everybody?
I feel like the Ruffalo
Everybody is having
performance,
fun.
I feel like the Ruffalo performance is definitely going to be a love it or hate it thing for
Yeah,
people. Um, I err on the side of I loved it. It's definitely in the mode of what he just did in Poor Things.
right,
Very much that guy drained of all charisma,
right.
like, and then
To
just
a hundred, to the
just
hundredth
juiced
degree.
up on pure ego and white nationalism and a
My
lot of other
favorite thing was,
stuff. The teeth,
I'm
dude.
greatly honored to
The
be
fuck.
asked to speak here today. You were subpoenaed.
Yeah, dude. That was
I
one of my big
fucking
that
died
was
so
one of my
hard,
biggest
dude.
audible chuckles and nobody else laughed and I was just like, dude, the comedic
Like
timing
all
and
of us,
the line delivery of that by whatever actress that was for that one line. I was yeah.
all of it, everybody in the theater, the three of us, we all laughed at that. I do remember that. Like you were subpoenaed to be here. That's
So
just
so yes, he is the commander, Marshall something. What is he? What's his name?
Kenneth Marshall, isn't that his name?
Oh my
I thought
gosh.
Marshall was his last name.
Let me get back to my Mickey 17 page.
Yeah,
Hold
because
on.
he's yeah, so he was like he lost he's like a two-time presidential campaign
He's a failed politician. Kenneth Marshall, yes.
Kenneth
He's a
Marshall, yeah.
he's a failed politician who has now taken up with this like that's the other element that honestly is a little unexplored, but this is all funded by like some super church, which is I guess basically like a Scientology sort of thing. I don't know. The
Yeah.
like but
Or the Catholic Church, who knows?
well, and then I guess well no, I assumed it was like super like, you know,
Yeah, one of
intense
them.
Christians is what I assume with where it ends up going, which kind of like I was like, well, is that his thing or is that the goal of the whole church? Like when we start
Right.
getting into the, supreme pure white race shit later in the movie. Uh his wife is played by Toni Collette. That's Yifa,
Hmm.
another actress who can do absolutely no wrong in my book and is fully game for the Bong tone. This obviously seems like where you would normally have Tilda slip in here, given Snowpiercer and Okja. But
Yeah.
I love adding Toni Collette into the mix, and I think
Yeah.
she equips her or yes, excels quite nicely. Okay. Somebody I really want to shout out, because I think we talked about her a bit, but we didn't really go into the movie in much detail. Naomi Ackie is in this
Hmm.
movie as Nasha,
Hmm.
the kind of central love interest to Mickey 17 and later Mickey 18. We'll get to that in a minute. She was the lead in Blink Twice.
That's where I knew her from. I
Yes.
was like, why do I know this girl?
And
And that's fucking
she's
okay.
one of my new faves.
Yes,
After those
100%.
two back to back, that one last year, just, yeah, she absolutely crushes in this. So she's a member of the colonization team. So blah blah blah. They get indebted to the loan sharks on Earth, and they're like, we should just get off the planet, basically.
Right.
So in their haste of trying to do that, Mickey is basically like, hey, I need to kind of jump the line. There's like millions of people applying to get off Earth and like take part in this mission, and so he
My
volunteers.
buddy gets one no problem, like
Yes,
with a license
which
to
I which again, what I love is while the movie is unsubtle, there's also when you step back and think about it, there are layers to certain things where it's like I at a certain point I was like, why is all the Steven Yeun stuff in there? Like it's funny or whatever, but it is that like to me, that was the element of the infighting between the lower classes, if you will, where it's like he's kind of looking over and it's like, dude, what the fuck? Like he's got a helicopter and like he's got a leg up on me. And it's like ultimately they're all under, you know, they're all under this
Oh
oppressive
yeah, no,
regime essentially. But uh
it kind of
yeah,
lends itself. It lends itself to the church thing of like white, whatever. Like we're gonna do this and that, but it's like okay, but you have what I would consider a very diverse like group of people
that's again,
ethnically that are going out there. But like, yeah, I think that I don't know if it's the only to service that, but like in a way that can serve as like the whole thing with the church of like, aren't you, you're not like, you know, part of the white establishment, whatever, whatever. But it's like, it just kind of keys that up as like, yeah, this is what Mickey's reduced to, but like his buddy, who got him into this mess in the first place, is like,
he's
he's
essentially
essentially
exploiting.
thriving
Yes,
to an
he's finding a
extent.
way to profit in the midst of all this chaos, essentially. The guys
Right.
who kind of ignore what's going on in any given side. Yeah.
Right.
So, uh, once he kind of starts his first cycle and they reveal to him, like, hey, here's how everything works. You're basically our guinea pig, our like first man on the ground for any of this stuff. In the course of this, he meets Nasha, who, you know, because just it's one of those like love at first sight sort of things where but they build over the course of the movie I think a pretty like genuine relationship between them. All that stuff really worked for me uh pretty early on. Like they do the radiation test on him
Hmm.
where they just like basically trick him into getting into outer space and then they're like, hey, give us the play by play like as you just burn up in radiation
Right.
basically. uh we get a lot of physical comedy with him like coming out of the printer. Like all that
Them
stuff is
forgetting
great.
them forgetting to put
Forgetting to
like
put the
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 little
gurney
wheel right.
down. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Uh what are some of the other early deaths? Oh, just the runner of they get to the planet. They have him go outside and I gotta shout out dude who was on he was on the Umbrella Academy and he notably Mindhunter. Oh my gosh. Cameron Britton.
Yeah.
He played Edmund Kemper on Mindhunter.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely terrifying. Fantastic actor. Uh,
Oh,
quite
dude,
the
that
quite
the
the
entire time
range.
I'm sitting there like, who do I know? Where do I know
So
these motherfuckers
he's
from?
the so
But it's
he's the
all these. Yes,
huge
he's the
he's the
huge
big
kid.
scientist.
Who had dude
Uh,
at the end when he's like, yes, we've already explained that that's like a it's like a translator. They could tell like these.
dude, that seriously was Gavin. You have no idea. That was one of those where I wanted to like stand up and cheer because I'm like, that is the type of bullshit in giant blockbuster movies that drives me nuts, where they treat the audience like they're a fucking moron and they repeat the same thing like three times in a row. Like, hey, make sure for the people in the back, the people on their phones, like make sure they get the plot device like three times or whatever.
Right.
And the fact that he in the moment is like, yeah, I just like, but he's explaining it
Oh,
to the dumbest motherfucker in the room fucking Mark Ruffalo. Um, it not only works in context, but it also that was one of the biggest laughs in the whole movie.
I don't like that they're having a
His
conversation. I don't like that
deliveries,
those two are having a conversation with a chief and you're not out there.
yeah.
It's
The
so fucking.
but Cameron Britton, dude, his delivery throughout, I loved that scientist character. I thought he was like fantastic. Arcady, I believe, is the character name, but yeah, dude, he's fantastic. So they have him over the radio just being like, yeah, take in a lot of deep breaths, feel every every inch of your
Every
lungs, blah blah blah, take in all those spores, everything. And they find, of course, immediately that there's a deadly virus on the surface of the planet that they then have to spend so many copies of him. And it's like, oh, that's how I think it's literally like 3 through 16, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's some ridiculous number.
yeah.
Is just them like getting the virus figured out to like get him be able
Get
to get
everybody to be
people
able
on the
to, yeah.
planet so they can breathe without having masks on. Yes.
You know what this reminds me of? And I was just thinking about this the entire time. I was like, what if somebody told, like, what if, what, I feel like this movie was written around the thing of like, what if you took Roy from Blade Runner and he was just like, let me tell you about my fucking day? You know? And it's just like all this off-world shit you had to do is like, I've seen things, but instead of just one of him, there were thousands of him. I feel like that is like the starting point. It's like, okay, you have someone who, instead of being an android, they're going to be human, but it's just, they're going to be a copy of themselves. And it's just going to be like this whole thing because it's one of those where like, and I think it does a really good job. One of the things I appreciated from it was like the constant nod to like, yeah, I'm always afraid. I know that I'm going to be reprinted and that my memory will keep going, but dying is still not fun. I don't like it. It's not a, I can't tell you. That's the question everybody, oh, what's it feel like to die? It's like you could have signed up to do this and know what it means, but it's like he's like it's scary every time. Like I don't like it. And like
Well,
one of the
again,
things, again,
we
spoiler, one of the
we
things that
can't.
like broke my heart, but also I'm glad they paid off with was the, oh, I hit the button and that's why the car messed up and died. And then Mickey 18 has to be like, are you fucking kidding me? You think that's what happened? No, that's not what happened. Like, forgive yourself for thinking that you got to be punished your entire life because you did something wrong. You
That's
didn't.
the
You know,
yes. He
that's
mentions
where
very
like that
early on
emotional, like,
the the I experimented on a frog when I was in science class, like when I was a kid, or I
hmm.
something like that. And he's like, "This is my pittance, essentially. Like, this is why I'm perpetually serving this over and over again." And yeah, that's what I was gonna say is the movie works as a big giant metaphor for just the crushing weight of capitalism, just the
Yes.
meat grinder of throwing human bodies into the service of like a very small group of people. Uh, for what? And for in search of progress, but not progress that benefits anybody except those people.
People who
Uh,
don't pay taxes.
yes. So it works as a great metaphor for that, of course, but like you said, it what really rang true for me is when 18 comes in, because you kind of, again, the movie is rather plotless, I would say. The big kind of arc is when they get to this planet, they find out that there is an indigenous population, okay? That is,
Which has never ever been a problem
which
for
is,
capitalists. Anytime
yes,
capitalists come up against an
which
injustice,
is,
they say, thank you, we appreciate you, we would like to be here too, and how would you like it if we gave you
yeah,
this shiny thing? That's never been a problem for capitalists whatsoever.
yes. And
Indigenous people.
as we will come to learn pretty early, but like for us, the audience, but much later, the characters come to the realization, oh, also this indigenous population is entirely non-violent unless threatened. And then they can get a little intense. Anyways, uh, so we have that whole setup. They want to wipe out the planet essentially. Uh, Colonize it, etc., get everybody set up. And we should mention also, this is one of my favorite details, because of the calorie consumption of sexual activity,
Yes.
it has been banned on the entire spacecraft for the duration. So until they set up a new society, nobody's allowed to fuck, uh, which is a very, very funny detail, which of
Okay,
course is
you know what
juxtaposed.
this do you know what
God.
this also reminded me of a little bit? Maybe it's too much of a stretch. Do you remember like another one of the plot lines of Don't Look Up? Where it was like the Elon Musk type character didn't want to shoot down the asteroid, and at the end it was like, oh, they're all actually going to leave the planet. They leave Jonah Hill behind, and they
Right.
go in search of another one, and they get there, and then like they immediately get eviscerated by the people that are living, the beings that are on that planet. I that was in the back of my mind here, and I was like, I'm glad that that's not the case. I'm glad that we're like, oh, and they're really both cuddly and cute looking, but also fucking terrifying if they roll over, you know? Like
Yeah.
that's a Cthulhu nightmare all in itself, just with all the things.
I will
So
also say. if some of the delay was also extended post-production, I really like the effects in this movie.
Yeah,
Overall, in general, also shot by Darius Kanji, one of the legends, one of the goats of cinematography. Uh, See it in the large format if you have the
please.
ability, people. Just a true like this is what this is what we want. But what I also loved about it is, to your point, yeah, we could have had like we could have gone a completely different direction and had like a more warlike species or something that we had to contend with, and had like action set pieces centered around these things, big CGI spectacles, blah blah blah. What I loved is, as heavy as the CGI is in those sequences or whatever, it A, all looks great in my opinion. It never
Yeah.
falls into that like, oh, this just looks like a massive bullshit. It has like a detail to it, like
Hmm.
it, all of that stuff really worked. Um, but it also, like, at the same time, doesn't have these big, like, it is a big spectacle-y movie in a lot of ways that doesn't rely on traditional action set pieces at all,
Right. Right.
which is part of what I loved about it. Uh, yeah, so basically, we got to deal with the indigenous population. Things end up going awry when they take a rock off of the planet, bring it in, cut it open for a big ceremony. All hell breaks loose.
Well, no, we see we're a big plot point. So when we meet Mickey, we're like, oh, okay, this is it for him. But we realize, oh, this wasn't. They actually like they kind of let him go. They kind of mush him up to the surface, and he hitches a ride home. And he comes to find like, oh, well, they'd gone ahead and made another version of me. And that's when we get the breakdown of like, oh yeah, but if there's two of you, fuck it, you both got to go.
Yes, they introduced the whole concept of multiples, and
Yeah.
that's where we get our whole serial killer backstory and basically why that has been outlawed.
Hmm.
And specifically, the Ruffalo character has been the one who's advocated for, like, yeah, so here's how we'll deal with it going forward, is like, allow us
Right.
to use this printing technology, but we swear that there will be no multiples. And if they're discovered, basically we exterminate everything, like all
Right. Nobody
consciousnesses.
knows. Yeah, that's it. It's all
Yeah,
done. It's
so
all
you're
over.
just you're done. So now we have 17 and 18. In pretty rapid order. They try and kill each other a couple times.
Yeah.
18 ends up going off with Nasha, and also, experiment with some drugs. They start fooling around. We we toy around with some three-way scenes. All of this was very fun for me. I was laughing a lot,
Oh yeah.
particularly when Pattinson starts touching Pattinson, and it's just like, no, it's okay. Like, it's just like, no, I can't do this. Like,
Yes.
that, dude. All that stuff was great, and that gets into. Sorry, I kind of got sidetracked earlier, but he meets this other version of himself
Hmm.
that seems like 18 seems to be like, I don't know, it was almost like, dude, this is Mickey with like none of the self-doubt, uh, just like assured, maybe a little like possibly psychotic, we don't know, but just way more confident, assured of himself, and also kind of fed up and just like, but wait a second. Like, that guy's an asshole. Like, why wouldn't I just just kick that guy's ass? He's an
Right.
asshole. Like, why are you just taking this? Why are you letting life happen to you, essentially?
Right.
And what it kind of comes down to is like, because 17, or like the core Mickey Barnes, thinks that he deserves it, essentially. It's like you get so hooked into this system, you
Hmm.
think there's no escape from it, that you're just like a cog in the machine, whatever. And he kind of confronts this other side of himself that says, nah, dude, that's stupid. Stop thinking like that.
Right.
Say fuck you to that. And yeah, that turn towards, obviously, yeah, like, we knew they were going to be adversarial. And I honestly, from the trailer, I was like, but that's the movie, right? It's just like one Pattinson's got to kill the other Pattinson, like spy
Right.
versus spy on a spaceship or something. Like, I don't know.
Exactly.
And the fact that it basically was not that at all, uh, I I loved where it went. Basically, Ruffalo loses more and more of his shit. Uh, there's the whole there's the other character, I forget her name, who like wants to get with 17. She's like a
Oh yeah.
high-ranking officer on there, but they have the whole dinner sequence. They're feeding him like some synthetic meat, which doesn't go well. They just, dude, just the again, the shit they put him through.
Hmm.
I had struck the perfect balance of like, dude, I'm laughing, and then we linger on it just a little bit longer, or Pattinson just is doing something in the performance where I'm like, fuck, man, I really
Yeah,
feel bad for this guy. You know what I mean?
exactly.
They never lose sight of that. It never, it has a lot of heart. I was very
That's
like
yeah,
that,
that's exactly like the
which is
perfect
not
note.
surprising. I rewatched Parasite last night, and it's like it's a very emotional ending to that movie. It's such a downbeat, but the dream of like what could be at the end of that movie
Hmm.
is just very, very affecting. And the way that everything goes to shit at the end of that movie is also just one of those things where I'm like, oh man, no. Just
Hmm.
every time I watch it, it's tragic, dude. Breaks your fucking heart. Uh, and yeah, again, I think whether tonally everybody's going to be able to take the journey with this, I don't know. But I think the place that it ends up in, where what he kind of learns is like self-belief and like to stop, stop doubting himself, stop doubting that he can't change his circumstances, et cetera, that we're all, like I said, stuck in all of this. Uh, that really worked for me. That was very satisfying.
Yeah.
So
It's one of those where like you I my favorite thing is just like the people who you want to see like lose it or like get some sort of comeuppance. Ultimately, yeah, they do, but like the fact that Stephen Yoon is just like, oh yeah, well, he got he got released early for good behavior. The guy who the Mr. Blank said, like he he managed to overpower him and throw him in the thing, and then he got sent to jail, but also he's out now, like he's fine, and it's just one of those where you're kind of reaffirmed at the end that like yes, there's always going to be people who whether
So
or
he
not.
has so after they spoiler again, we're deep into this, but 18 self-sacrifices because they basically established through communication with the like lead mother, uh we'll just call it the indigenous alien. It's not an alien, the indigenous
Oh
creature.
dude, I love that little bit.
Uh
Her speech when she's like, we're the fucking aliens, what is wrong with you? Like they're indigenous, they've been here before us, you motherfucker, what is wrong with. I thought she was great, and now that I'm realizing again, everybody who I love in this movie, I'm like, they were in fucking something else I liked. I
yeah.
I hate that.
He
I don't know that.
again, I think Bong famously watches like 4 movies a day or
Yeah,
something like that. So he's up to date on like,
he's
oh,
a
I got
real
an eye
Tom
on that
Cruise on that.
person. I got an eye on that
Watch it at
person.
least one to two, three, or four a day. Yeah.
Yeah. So uh basically they establish a truce essentially where it's like, hey, why did you take our babies essentially? Why'd you kill one of them? And so it's basically like eye for an eye, like, hey, bring us back the other baby that you took and
One of yours has to go.
sacrifice one human and we're all good. And basically in the midst of that, 18 takes out Ruffalo after kind of an extended set piece out on the ice with like masses of the creatures, et cetera, et cetera. And we kind of cut to a little bit the future. They're going to demolish the printing machine.
Right.
There will be no more expendables on this planet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go into a dream sequence that we don't necessarily know is a dream sequence at first. But yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that because basically we reveal like Tony Collette's still around and she's gonna print up another Ruffalo. Essentially the idea that like this is a cycle that's gonna repeat itself. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't avoid figures like this. Um, it's inevitable. And again, 17 in that moment. is like, what would 18 do? And it's like, fuck off. It's basically just like, but no, but you can say that to the
Yeah,
narrative essentially that these things just have to have, like, this is just the way it is.
right,
This cycle will always repeat itself. You can choose to say, no, but it doesn't have to. It actually
right.
doesn't have to. Uh, yeah, that, and then, you know,
Trying to find out, oh, he was just asleep. But it also to me, it doubles as like there will always be. I think that's one of the things I've always appreciated. And I think it's like I want to say, I want to say the name of the poem or the short story, it's Young Goodman Brown. Maybe I'm misremembering it. But it's a story of like guys walking at night, the devil's there, the devil keeps getting him to walk. And like as he keeps going further and further on this walk, he starts to see other people in the town that he lives in, knowing that they are kind of in consort with the devil. So he spends the rest of his life always in fear of like, well, I know this about these people. So it's kind of in that vein, but also like I'm spending the rest of my existence with memories of like all these times I've died, but also like of this good thing of like we kind of broke that cycle. I'm no longer going to be able to just come back from death, but like I'm weirdly at peace with that, knowing that like there's no more versions of me. I'm it. I can finally live the best version of myself, my best life, quote unquote, kind of whatever. So again, I appreciated that that dream sequence kind of still to me is there to remind you like you're going to be stuck with some of these, the bad memories. You may be stuck with these and they may manifest in some form of like, you know, nightmares, whatever. But like ultimately, the one crutch you had was like, I'm always going to be reprinted.
hmm
So I'm just, if you want to look at it on a basic scale, I'm just going through the motions of life. I'm gonna be reprinted. But
right.
but then all of a sudden it's like this, yes and yes and yes and these events happen, and now it's like, hey, I'm
Keeps
not just going through life anymore. I'm I'm here now and I'm living my life. I'm not just walking through it, cog in the machine, as you said, whatever it is. I'm
absolutely,
actually like,
yeah,
I'm a part of it now. I'm a part of my own existence, my own life, and I get to choose
to be an active participant
to
in it.
then, right.
To,
Yeah,
yeah, that
And I
really,
feel
yeah,
like that's
man.
something that, like, I hope to me, it's not dumbed down at all. It's pretty self evident. And I just had this conversation with Becky the other day about like, I don't like, and again, this is going to sound stupid coming from me because I'm also the prime target demographic for all this, but I do not like basic, let's appeal to everybody, lowest denomination entertainment stuff just for the sake of having it. I get you need it because if you don't make money off of the entertainment you're giving people, then you don't get to make other things like this. But I don't think that this is like too much of a like certain class audience is not going to get this. Certain class of audience is going to get this and be like, that's exactly what I need, totally what I needed. Certain class is going to get this and be like, wait, what? Huh? But if you're
Certain
just an
class is going
average,
to think it's pretentious and overwrought
right?
and a tonal mess. I can see those conversations. Like,
Yeah,
I definitely think it is not for everybody, and that is
no,
again,
that's
usually,
okay.
I was going to
It
say, those
doesn't
are
have to be for
usually
everybody.
the best movies, in my opinion. Should be able to have all sides of those conversations had about them, and I think those are all valid readings. For me, uh, this is my favorite movie of the year at this point. This is a 9 out of 10 for me. That's what I'm going to be
I
posting to
yeah,
the
I'm at a
gram.
I was gonna message you when I got out, but I was like, no, I'll wait because I know we're gonna talk about it. But it's right up there, solid nine for me
Yeah.
as well.
I again in a movie that I've it's only been several hours, but I've enjoyed thinking through it with you, and I think again that comedic hook and just the Pattinson performance, dude. I look forward to going back to this movie over and over again. I think also one of the most watchable uh, of the Bong oeuvre thus far, and he makes very entertaining, watchable movies. So I huge recommend from both of us. If you stuck around this long, I'd be very interested to hear what you thought of the movie, listener. You can email us.
And please remember that there will be no Mickey 18, Mickey 19, Mickey 20, Mickey 21, none of that. And that's the thing I think I appreciate too. And
Well,
another film, the
there is
last
a
review,
sequel not there is a sequel novel. So the
yes, that's
door is
true.
open. The door is open.
It's open, but it's one of these where it's like, what are you going to do from here? Because he can't be copied anymore. However, with the other one that we kind of super instant review being a sequel in a franchise, I can appreciate that this is like a, for now, a standalone on its own piece of like entertainment, particularly sci-fi entertainment, that is not like
I think we got to
tethered to anything else.
we 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 neglected bringing this up earlier, but when we were just talking about recent sci-fi, we totally did not mention Nope and Get Out and Us, like the entire Jordan Peele oeuvre, which I think all qualifies as sci-fi on one level or another
Yeah, they are.
subgenre.
Wait a minute. Does
But
Nope have a guy we know? What's his name? Steven? There's a guy named Steven in that, right?
yeah,
Is he killing that
I was gonna
performance
say
too?
no. Yeah, I think he is. I think he
Yeah.
is.
I think
Cat
he is.
and Catan is just crushing it. I mean, it's prime Catan.
Oh my
Um,
God, dude. Speaking of that, I did start
I
watching
rewatched
Undercover Brother
that.
the other night.
I saw that on Prime. Nope was the first movie I watched this year. Uh, Rewatched this year,
Hmm.
and oh my God, it gets better and better every time. But to that point, I'm sorry, Mickey 17 is my platonic ideal of a science fiction movie. It is fun. It's entertaining. It builds a whole world for you, and it is about something, which that's what science fiction is supposed to do. It's
Right.
supposed to be a vessel for social commentary. That's what it was meant for. That's what fucking genre in general was meant for, but particularly science fiction. And I feel like too often we lose sight of that and we just go for the spectacle and we forget to put the ideas in it. This movie does not forget to put the ideas in it. Sometimes it screams them at you, and guess what? That's okay. Sometimes you need to be screamed at. People, wake the fuck up. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, before we end, because I want to say there were several times where if you weren't there for the comedy, if you didn't think the comedy worked, I actively was like, "Oh, if you don't think this is funny, if you don't get what's going on here, the way that he is like writhing in pain and screaming, you are not going to be happy with this movie." There is a version where like you see the same exact movie that I see, but it is a dark, tortured thing because of just your own horizons, your own, your opinions, whatever. But like again, everything's working in a little bit of that performance, but then there's that one note, like his pitch in his voice, look on his face, something hits, and you're like, bro, this is so fucked. But it's like, it's ever so again, for as much as the movie hits you over the head with stuff, I feel like those
it
moments where
has
you have
nuance. That's the
that's
thing.
yeah, subtlety, nuance. Yeah, that's what yeah,
It has depth to it. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be subtle to have nuance and depth, I guess is what I'm
right.
saying. You can fucking use your themes like a sledgehammer. And
Hmm.
within that, again, I have really enjoyed, as much as I enjoyed the experience of watching it, I have really enjoyed just thinking about it ever since I left the theater. And I cannot wait to see it again. I'm going to go see it again while it's on the big screen. I hope all of you will too. Uh, we're off to a good start. There's a little slow period there, but when I kind of sit back and I'm like, dude, I really love, really, really like Pantera. Uh, I thoroughly enjoyed Presence, the latest from Soderbergh. That one delivered for me. It is newly rentable. It should be streaming probably on Hulu within the next couple months. I look forward to talking to you about that one. Uh, but yes, I think this is hopefully the official kind of kickoff to the movie year, and I hope people show up for it. I yeah, I it's kind of a big question mark, but the question is, Pattinson's been getting, you know, weirder and weirder and just doing his fucking thing. And is the Warner Brothers of it all, the, the Parasite juice, the uh the cast, the fact that it is sci-fi, is that gonna get people out that would not necessarily normally be down for this? Uh, and more importantly, if it does, are any of them going to tell their friends to go see it the next week? Or are people going to go home and be like, what the fuck was that? Because I got to be honest with you, the guy on my row, he seemed like he was in tune with the movie. Uh, but I don't know. There's crickets at other times from some of the crowd. Very interested to see how it's received. Can't wait to do and talk about that more. But we should look ahead to our next episode, which will be a check in with the pit. We're going to make our rounds. We're going to be talking about episodes 6 through 10. I
Yes,
just watched
sir.
10 tonight. Gavin has not watched it yet. I will just tell you, this one's not a doozy in like the emotional category, but the final scene of this episode, brother, ooh, baby. Ooh, baby. Can't wait to discuss it with you. And we will
Jesus.
also be discussing the latest episode of Severance, which airs tomorrow. That'll be
Yes.
episode 8. So we'll be talking about 3 through 8. I've had a lot of feelings about that show over the last several weeks, and some of them good, some of them mixed. And I want to talk through them
And
with
that
you.
ain't bad. Oh, no.
That ain't bad at all. I can definitely say I'm, I'm interested to see where the rest of the season goes. And we have three
Yeah.
more, but yeah, we're gonna do a little check in, and yeah, we're gonna hit the pit and Severance. So we're gonna get severed in the pit next time on the Archivy podcast.
And then
Uh,
some point, we're going to talk Cobra Kai. We're going to
oh,
say
Cobra.
goodbye
Say
to Cobra
goodbye to
Kai,
Cobra Kai.
even though it never dies.
Absolutely. So we've got, when does Legends drop? Hold on.
No idea.
Let me check this out.
I uh, I got thoughts, I got ideas, I got opinions. I got
So
one.
it comes out at the end of May, May
Okay.
30th. So I'm thinking April,
Yeah.
Cobra Kai, say goodbye to Cobra Kai. And then we've done we've done part 1 on on a retro review paired with Rocky with the cousins, one of my favorite episodes. And we've talked a lot about 2 and 3, but I'm almost like, I don't know, dude. Do you want to do a big like go through all the movies again, including next before we and including Jackie's canonical one now? So go through
I
all
mean,
five
I,
before
if I
we.
have to watch, if I have to watch that one, then I will.
No, I was just I throwing it out there if you wanted to do those 5 leading up to the release of Legends at the end of May. It's something to think about. And you listeners, I guess, if there are any out there who feel like contributing to the programming, let us know. Do you want some extra Karate Kid stuff, or do you just want to hear us talk Cobra Kai and get it over with?
Yeah, we could talk Cobra Kai and get over. Maybe we could talk. Did we ever do like a '90s ninjas thing? Did we talk like Three Ninjas? Did we talk
We did Three Ninjas and Sidekicks paired together, right?
Sidekicks? Okay. We talk Surf Ninjas?
It was Three Ninjas and Surf Ninjas, and we paired Sidekicks with something else.
Huh.
But we've done those, yes.
Okay. I was trying to think. I was because like it was like on Amazon the other day. I was like, where the hell all these like '90s nostalgia like ninja
Prime
movies I watched as
Prime
a kid?
still Prime still undefeated
Yeah.
with the selection for what we
Yeah.
want to watch.
Hmm.
Uh, I will also just an update on my Hackman watches. Oh, I get shit. That happened the day after we recorded last time. Is that right? Have we talked about it on mic?
No, we haven't.
R.I.P. Gene Hackman. I still don't know if we have all the details yet. I haven't checked in like in a week, but that one not rough in the sense of like, I mean, the dude was 95. He'd been out of the game for a while. I love that he retired. I love that he actually had like an end point to his career, blah blah. For me personally, just a few words quickly. One of my all-time top five guys. Just like he's in the five. Just
Hmm.
absolutely loved him. Ever present. Been there like since I was a little kid. Loved him in everything. Grew to love him in even more different and varied roles as an adult. Uh, I started out with Tenenbaums uh, on the night that we found out. I did get Shorty the next day, followed by, hold on, pull up my Letterboxd. Again, if you want to follow me on Letterboxd, Noah's Ark of E. Get those follows.
We Are Family was playing on Sirius because mom usually just
Oh yeah,
plugs Sirius.
Birdcage is on
So yeah,
Prime.
you know what I'm saying.
So
She heard that going, and she was like, "I'll never forget Gene Hackman just walking out." I was like, "Yeah, mom." That's she just like this is
mhm.
like 2 days ago, but yeah.
So I did Tenenbaums, followed by Get Shorty. Uh, then that same night, The French Connection. Or excuse me,
Hmm.
afternoon French Connection into The Firm, which I had never actually seen like start to finish off cable.
So let's deal with French Connection too. Nobody talks about it. It's just not good, or what?
I've never seen it.
Me neither. I
This
watched
would
the
be the
first
t
one.
this would be the time to watch it, eh? It can't be, I mean, it has Gene Hackman in it. It can't be
Be that
all
bad.
bad, right? And then
Is
after
Roy
The
Scheider not in it?
Firm, no. This is he goes to France to follow up on the case. I've never seen it. This
It's
is he
available on
goes to
Prime. It's on Max,
goes to
isn't it?
track down Fernando Rey. Yeah, I think is it directed by is it Schlesinger? Who did French Connection Part 2? Hold on.
I see it all the time, and I'm like, okay, but like again, I didn't know Scheider was in the
It's
original.
dude, it's Frankenheimer.
What the fuck?
It's got it. I mean Ronan, bro. It's got to
Yeah,
be
Ronan.
decent, right?
Yeah. I mean, they let Frankenheimer make more movies after it, so it can't be that bad, right? I
All
mean,
right, I'm watching it tomorrow. I'm
yeah.
watching it tomorrow.
Okay, I'll check it out in my couple of days off here. Um, and I'll let you know what I think. Maybe we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Oh, and then Unforgiven was the last one.
Where's
But I
where's Welcome to Mooseport on your list?
never seen it.
Me neither. I just hate that that's his last movie.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I'm sure it's all right.
The bottom line, he got one last great performance in the decade of the 2000s, which is Royal Tenenbaums, which is arguably like top three of his career.
Yeah,
I've been saving Hoosiers. It's on Prime right now as well. That's going to be one soon. But yeah, dude,
got 21.
we can just have a Hackman, free for all soon. Because one of my favorite dudes. We can pick a couple. We can do a twofer of like stuff we've never seen before. I will shout out our episode on Night Moves,
Yes.
1975 classic, that we both thoroughly enjoyed. I forget what we paired that with. Is it
Uh,
Cracker Jack maybe?
I thought
Or
we
what's the other Tig
long
movie? No,
er,
the ah
excessive
Excessive
force.
Force. I think that's what it is. I think it's Night Moves and Excessive
What
Force.
did we pair the Long Good Friday with?
I don't know.
You sure it wasn't the two of them?
Maybe.
I think it was. I think that because I remember being like, okay, I like the one with Hackman, but I fucking love that one with Bob Hoskins. I can't remember now, but because I see so much stuff now, I'm like, that's just the Long Good Friday. Like that's just
No,
people.
no, 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 no. The Long Good Friday, which I'll remind audiences was my pick,
Yeah, yeah.
was paired with The Big Hit from 1980.
Oh, okay.
That was a good pairing. That was a good episode.
I was
That was
gonna
a fun
say
time.
I would have never. You're right. I would have never picked both of those two together because I'd never seen either one of those
I
together.
forget
So
what the I forget what the common theme or what we were riffing off was, but usually remember we'd have a thread and it would be like go off of this, and then we'd present our picks on the following episode. We need to get back to two by two. I just think we should
yeah,
do a Hackman twofer that we've never seen.
yeah.
So
French
we should
Connection 2. I'm
that
not
dude. I
gonna
think
put it.
that's it. French Connection two, and then one that I've always wanted to see.
There's one with him and Tommy Lee Jones that I started. I think it's called The Package.
The package is okay. I wanted to
Okay.
like it more. I watched that like
Okay.
2 years ago.
Okay.
The one I'm interested in is with him and Lee Marvin, but I can't. Ah, it's not streaming anywhere. It's called Prime Cut. A vicious Kansas City slaughterhouse owner and his hick family are having a bloody beef with the Chicago crime syndicate over profits from their local illegal joint. Top enforcer Nick Devlin is sent to straighten things out.
Hmm.
So the slaughterhouse owner, I believe, is Hackman, and Lee Marvin is the guy who's got to go handle it. And then Sissy Spacek is popping around in there too.
Hmm.
It just sounds like a good time. It's directed by Michael Ritchie, uh, who did Fletch and Bad News Bears.
Hmm.
And yeah, it's supposed to be just like a brutal 70s crime movie that I can never seem to get my hands on and is never streaming anywhere. If anybody knows where I can find Prime Cut, let me know.
Hmm.
Speaking of which, uh, I should go look for it at my local uh, video store, Monster Music and Movies, which is something that I've been encouraging a lot of people to do these days. Just go find a shop near you. Uh,
Yeah, I could probably check out
where I
Strange
just
like that
recently picked up a copy of Munich on DVD for
because you just had to watch
$5
it, didn't
because
you?
I needed to watch it after September 5 and it's not streaming anywhere. So what did I do? I didn't pay for a rental to line the pockets of the Bezos. I just went like 5 minutes up the street, dropped $5 on a local retailer.
It's nice to know that he kind of his last name already feeds itself to currency for whenever they take over. How many Bezos you got for me, man? I got 100 Bezos. You know what I mean? It's just perfect.
Okay.
Can we interest you in some Disney dollars? Well, thanks. Can't buy weed and pussy with Disney dollars. Sorry. That bit pops into my mind every time when I have these like Disney dollars that Becky had. They're like from like early 90s, 80s. And like I've looked and people like paid money for them because they don't make them anymore. Like they don't make Disney dollars anymore. It's all on a card, obviously. So there's like collectors out there like, oh, I got this series, that series. So I've
What are
got
we
them in a
talking?
safe. And every time I look at them, I'm just like, I think of that Chappelle's bit about Disney dollars. I don't know
Right.
why I went into Jeff Bezos and
I don't
currency.
know, and I don't. I felt like we ended the
Did we
episode
sign? Did
like
we sign
10,
it off?
15 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I
you started
don't
talking about
know.
Gene Hackman, and I'm just like, okay, I'm
Well,
going.
I had to pay tribute, dude. I mean,
Yeah,
one
pay
of the
tribute and pay
greats,
homage.
one of the
Um,
greats. I
I
guess we
really
could have
like him in
shouted it out.
Superman. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Great
I had to.
commentary.
I'm
Great
sorry. I had
commentary. I
to.
love it.
I had to.
Excellent, excellent, excellent film.
For my
Uh,
money, the best Lex Luthor on the planet.
hands down, hands
It
down.
goes without saying. Yes,
You
Mr.
got,
Luthor. Yes, Mr. Luthor. That's my
you
best
got
Ned
Ned
Beatty.
Beatty. You got no complaints.
Yes.
You got Otis farting around. You got no complaints.
Otis, Miss Tessmacher. I'm sorry. I just,
Dude,
yeah.
that was formative. Formative.
Bro, don't even get me started on her at all. Don't. Just don't.
I wanna so I don't even know if they're listening. I gotta I gotta commend Patrick J. Blanchard on the restraint. Because you know how horny on Maine Patrick likes to get. He didn't say a word about Miss Tessmacher at
Oh my
all
God, dude.
on that episode, and I was like, the restraint. Holy shit.
Dude, imagine
What
going your
happened?
whole. Imagine, listen, okay, imagine you live in a world where you know that this woman has posed for Playboy, but you can't get your hands on it because there's no internet. Okay? He's done that for his entire life. And then the internet becomes around. And then give it about 5, 10 years, and then bam, you can go see all those photos all you want. You have to go to a back catalog or like ask write Playboy for the issue for whatever year it was that she posed for him or whatever. You just go see it whenever you want. But yeah, that is actually it sounds really terrible, but I've always wanted to have that conversation with my I don't want to say family, but like you, the brothers Blanchard, my buddy Perk, like anybody that like just what who was it for you? Well, like first off when you were a kid, like who can you just think of be like, and you're just instantly like, yep, that's it, because obviously there's more than one, but it's just you don't think about, but imagine what could be unlocked when you don't think about one, and somebody brings it up because it wasn't until you're like, hey.
Yes, imagine
Or
the possibilities.
yeah,
Continue to imagine them, Gavin. We're not doing that episode. Okay.
okay.
Um
I'm just saying it could be fun. It could
you
go up on Patreon.
I mean you can work, yeah, definitely behind a paywall, 100%.
Dude, if you're so prudish and you don't want mom and dad to hear it, it's fine. It's fine. Okay.
It's not that. It's just,
You're gonna be too weird. You're gonna be really weird, aren't you?
I
You're
mean,
gonna be blue velvet all day long. Is that what you're gonna
it's definitely not going to be for public consumption if we were ever to record that conversation. Okay.
do?
Uh Holy shit. We got to end this episode. For the Ark of E podcast, I've been Noah.
And I've been Gavin.
We've been the Blanchard brothers, and you've been listening to what we've been watching.
And you've also been listening to how the Oscars fucked us up again. I'm just kidding. They got
I
some
was
stuff right. They got some stuff
I
wrong.
was I was pretty pleased this year
Yeah.
overall,
Yeah.
considering what was up. Although I will sing it till the day I die. I saw the TV Glow. It was the best movie of 2024, and it was right there, Academy. If you really wanted to honor a piece of trans art from a trans filmmaker, uh,
Yeah.
it was right there for the taking. You could have nominated across the board. It could have had 13 nominations. You fucking morons. Yeah. Also, A24 guys.
We get it.
No, A24. You gotta up the campaign budgets on these. Come on. Like, they put it all about, well, no shit. Honora is neon. I don't know why I keep thinking Honora is A24.
Because every good A24 has a neon Pope production. Possessor. Uh, I
No,
don't know.
I'm just
Maybe
saying
just one.
anyways, but no,
Neon.
I keep,
Neon. A24, we apologize. Neon. What are you doing? You gotta put more money
no,
into
no, no,
these
no.
campaigns.
No, Neon crushed it with what no, they won
Oh, that's right.
Honora,
Yeah.
they won Parasite. No, they invest the money and everything. What I'm saying is A24 is making so many good movies that then when it comes to award season, they have to pick like who are we running basically, and it was Sing Sing was the big one that they pushed this year, deservedly so. But I was just like, can we make a little more room for I Saw the TV Go? I just felt like they didn't. There was no push behind it. There was also no push behind Civil War, another A24 movie, for things like sound and editing and technical
That okay,
categories like
so
that were
Sinners,
just should have been right there.
Sinners and the Ray Mendoza, Alice
Warfare,
Garland, Warfare,
warfare.
those are probably my next two that I'm just like, let me have them now. You know?
I mean, the let me have them now is this Thursday when I will be going to see my boy Stevie Sode's second movie of the year, Black Bag, starring Michael
Whoa,
Fassbender and Kate
whoa,
Blanchett.
whoa. Is it a movie or is it a film? You said his second movie. Has he put out a film this year or a movie this year already?
Dude, here's the thing. Presence is a film
Ooh,
masquerading as a movie,
ooh.
and I think Black Bag might be a movie masquerading as a film. You know what I'm saying?
Remember a couple
You know what I'm
years ago
saying?
when we thought it was all over? We thought he was done. We thought he was stepping away from the chair,
Where
folding up.
do where do we get the nerve to talk like this at all?
I don't know,
I guess
but I
we're
feel like
kind
it
of do.
makes it.
I guess if Pattinson can do it, we can try to do
Yeah.
something in the neighborhood of this. I don't know.
Listen, I've been
Obviously, I
watching
don't know if
a
you
whole
said you
season's
haven't
worth of
seen
Boardwalk Empire,
you said
and
you
I
haven't
just
seen much of the press tour, but did you see that he said his number one inspiration for 17's voice was Steve Buscemi in Fargo?
that makes 1,000 per, which isn't Steve Buscemi's voice in Fargo like Steve Buscemi's voice in everything, or
Yeah,
is it?
pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was gonna also say, I think I did I miss this? Oh my God. Hold
Did you?
on.
You probably did.
Because I had this thought while I was watching it, because I remembered that note from the press tour and everything, where I just had the Coens in my head. Where is he? Where is he? Oh my God. Where is he? Holy shit. It is.
What?
So one of the chief science officers in Mickey 17
Uh-huh.
is Steve Park, who is incredible in the racial montage and Do the Right Thing, but notably is Mike Yanagita in Fargo. You're such a super lady. Oh, Marge, Marge.
Oh my God.
So yes, that's a little tip of the cap there too to the Coens that I was like, is that Mike Yanagita? Is it? And it was. Yeah. He has a few bits in there. He's the one who tells Ruffalo, he's like, we filmed everything. Like all the shit you've been doing here today.
Yeah, that guy
Yeah,
looked, yeah, and that's again,
he's been in a billion things, but yes.
it's one, yeah, it's a lot of like that. Oh, that guy. I love when that thing comes along. Which is again what I loved about Deadwood. There's so many people
Yes.
like, oh, this fucking guy.
To
Like,
bring it full circle to the conversation we were having off mic before this episode started. Gavin just watched Deadwood for the first time. Stay tuned for that conversation, more of it, on our next episode where we talk about the Pit and Severance. We are signing off. It is late. Good night, everyone.